Welcome to Any Given Monday. I'm here with Anna Belac. Anna grew up in Slovenia on a goat track. Her words, not mine. She made a hole-in-one in front of Duke's golf coach at a junior event, which meant she was destined to become a Blue Devil. Majored in statistics at Duke, helped her team win a national championship. She's bounced between the LPGA, Epson, and LET tours since graduating. And this is my favorite part. She's an Olympian. Anna, welcome to Any Given Monday. Thanks for giving us some time during the week of final stage.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. It's the eve of final stage of Q-Series. How are you feeling?
I'm trying not to think about it, honestly. Obviously, like I'm a little bit nervous. Just it's the most important week of the year in a way. Sets you up, either it sets you up or it doesn't set you up for next year. Um, so yeah, I'm just trying to like stay focused on, just like one step at a time, and that's all.
Yeah. So how do you approach the week? Do you treat it like any other week, or it's got to be hard to do that? Do you do anything different?
I wouldn't say I'd do anything different. I mean, conditions are very different from most of the tournaments that we play. Normally we play in pretty mild weather, and this week is going to be a major grind. Just playing, getting the rounds in. But you want to just treat it like any other week, because at the end of the day, you're just playing golf, and that's what you do on other 20 weeks out of the year when you play on tour. So that just get your prep in, make sure you know what you're going to hit on certain holes. I think for me, a big part this week was really dialing down the yardages. It's much colder here than what we normally play and what I practice in. So just really did a lot of work to figure out how far the ball's going and just trying to get ready.
Right. I mean, you have some experience with playing in frigid weather. You grew up in Slovenia, and you said to me, we talked earlier in the year, and you said if you were really brave growing up, you'd go outside and you hit some balls in ski pants. The forecast looks not so much like it's going to not be so much fun. It's going to be fairly miserable. Some showers in the forecast, but overall just cold. How are you going to rely on your experience and probably layers this week?
I mean, you just kind of have to accept the fact that you're going to be miserable out there. Like there's
Yeah.
no way of gaslighting yourself that you're enjoying it. So you just gotta, like it's the same for everyone, but just trying to make the most out of it, prepare, like put on some warm clothes, have a change of spare clothes if you get rained on, and trying to keep yourself as dry and as warm as possible. And the elements are going to be there, so you just kind of have to be mentally ready, like, and it's not enjoyable for anyone, so you're just kind of trying to make it through.
Yeah. Yeah. As if Q school wasn't hard enough, right?
Yeah.
Who's caddying for you this week, Anna?
I have Jan Meyerling on the bag. He's caddied for me last year as well, Q school, and he's Amy Yang's caddy, and I really trust him with my game, and kind of almost like as a second set of eyes on top of my coach. Like as an honest opinion on the state of my game. But as a caddy, I think he's one of the best ones out there. So I'm really grateful that he's able to do this really important and stressful week with me. So I'll be very confident. Like you have to make some interesting calls weeks like that on the course. The ball's not going very far, and sometimes the yardage, normally you would hit a 9 iron. This week I might be hitting a 6 iron. So having somebody on the bag that you really trust, and like when they say, yeah, I love a 6 iron, you just go and hit a 6 iron. And a lot of times it ends up great. So I'm excited about that.
Are you going through the process with any other players this week, trying to figure out distances and learn? I know you played last year, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But how do you learn a golf course, and how do you dial in distances in weather that's so abnormal?
I mean, for me, I try to do a lot of work with my TrackMan on the driving range. And the good thing is, the range ball Pro V1X that we use on the LPGA is also the ball that I play. So even before the practice round in the morning, I try getting a pretty good idea of how far everything goes. I don't have to have every single club because I can just, extrapolate for the missing clubs that I didn't hit. But getting a pretty good idea on the range and then going into the practice round, kind of just confirming those numbers rather than trying to learn on the course, how far everything goes because I feel like you can waste a lot of time figuring out your yardages on the course if you haven't done that before. Um, so yeah.
Do you keep to yourself on weeks like this and just stay focused? Do you hang with other players? Do you do dinners? What's the routine like?
I mean, I try to do dinners with the few friends that I have on tour, or if there's people that I know in town, like I try to take my mind off of golf when I'm not on the course. It's a really long and stressful week, so last thing I want is like spiraling by myself in a room at 7 p.m. when it's dark, pitch dark outside. It's important to keep a good balance any week of the year, but I think even more important this week.
You mentioned spiraling in the room by yourself. Uh, I was never a good sleeper during Q school weeks. There are advantages and disadvantages to that based on your personality, I think. But is that something you struggle with? I'm always envious of people who sleep well during Q school weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't get as much sleep during the night. There's definitely times like I'm already not a good morning person. Like I struggle waking up in the morning. And when that alarm is at like 5 in the morning, I tend to wake up during the night because I feel like I'm going to oversleep the alarm. So then, add in Q school, it gets even worse. So yeah, I mean, I'll take naps and the weather's kind of like draining. So like
Hmm.
I'll take naps and then hopefully get some sleep during the night and just get as much rest as I can.
You have experience at Magnolia Grove and the RTGA course. It's the trail really is
Mhm.
famous. Um, how is Magnolia playing this year? Obviously, it's long. It must be soft. What are the keys to success out there? You know it well.
Yeah, I mean, they're amazing courses. I think the layouts are, amazing. I think even for like an LPGA Tour event, it would be really cool to play here with more reasonable weather.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, it's playing probably like a normal yardage that we would play out on tour, but because the ball is going probably 10 to 15% shorter, it's playing significantly longer. Like normally on a normal week, I have mostly like pitching wedge to an 8 iron into a par four, and this week is 7 to a 5 iron. So it's quite an adjustment. They're playing long. The weather's going to be very unpredictable, so they might play even longer, but the greens are pretty soft, luckily. So even if you have a 5 iron into the green, it's probably not the worst thing in the world, but it's just like not being used to hitting those irons. I definitely spent some more time hitting my long irons this week.
Right. And how does your experience last year? I think you finished 11th, just outside of the top 10 Epson Tour race for the card the year before last. You had to go back to Q school. You played a amazing final round. You shot 68, I believe, to get your LPGA status. How much do you rely on that? How much have you replayed that success in your head so far this week?
I mean, I try not to think about too many things like what happened before, what's about to happen. I try to like really keep it in the moment. But, like over the course of my career, I feel like I've shot quite a few clutch rounds. So, definitely like I can pull some confidence from that. But again, it's a new year. I'm different, probably more mature player than I was a year ago.
Mm.
And hopefully like all that extra experience, takes me where I want to be at the end of the week.
Yeah, that's the thing is you've got an extra year of LPGA experience under your belt, more than a lot of your competitors. That has to give you some comfort, some confidence. How do you see that?
Yeah, for sure. Like this was my sixth year as a pro. I spent 4 years on the LPGA, 2 years on the Epson tour. Um, Played LAT as well. So, played in a lot of different conditions. And it's kind of like a double-edged sword because when you're young and straight out of college, maybe, or straight out of the amateur ranks, you don't have any scar tissue. So you're just, you're just out there. You have no idea like what it means to make it or not make it. But when you've, done it for a while, like I have, there's definitely some scar tissue associated with it, and you understand the stakes of making it or not making it a little bit better. But like I think all the extra experience that you have and playing in different conditions and having made through Q series like 2 out of 2 times, I hope I can make it 3 out of 3. Um, like that kind of gives me maybe like some extra confidence and maybe like an edge.
And leading into this week, knowing what it was going to be like to a certain extent, I know you're a hard worker. I know you're in the gym often. How did you approach your preparation coming into the week?
Yeah, so actually my last event was the LPGA event in Hawaii in early October. So I thought, as I first took a few weeks off just to decompress after the season, and then I really start working particularly for this week. A couple of weeks ago, I was able to play a mini tour event, a next tour event in Orlando, just to kind of, put myself in competitive mode. Like I can play money games, but it's never going to be the same as having like an actual scorecard and an actual leaderboard that people can actually look up. So that's kind of how I prepared. I shot 12 under in 3 rounds. So that kind of gave me a good confidence boost that I was working on the right stuff during this time off. And then the last couple of weeks, I was just, I knew it was going to play long, so I just put a little bit more work into my long irons and, just getting mentally ready, but not forgetting, to like have some good time off the course to just keep a good balance.
Yeah. Do you have a pretty strict diet during tournament weeks and Q school weeks?
Not necessarily any stricter than any other week. Like I've always eaten pretty healthy. So I just make sure like I eat enough and I drink enough water, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, get yourself something warm to drink in the morning. I won't take up any more of your time. I appreciate you taking the time with us and being very generous with that. We're all cheering for you, wishing you the very best of success, and look forward to watching you celebrate at the end.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna.